Here comes the milk cows. We've got 9 of them now and 6 babies. Full on micro dairy. Praise the Lord, it is 80 degrees out here. This feels like a cold front, to be honest. It's been 100. You can see the cloud cover. It is chicken loadout day here. So I will take the cooler temperatures because this evening we're gonna be loading up hundreds of chickens to go to the processor. But first we gotta milk a couple cows. We've got 9 milk cows, 6 babies, like I said. So you do the math. There's 3 that don't have a baby, lost their baby. So yeah, that's a bad deal. I'll tell you that story later, but 1 lost her baby before she ever got here. 2 lost their babies right after we bought them and they were transported here. So that means even on days we don't need a ton of milk, like if I've supplied the market, it's fully stocked, I still have to milk these 3. So it is what it is. We do what we have to do and we press on. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get these milked. I'm gonna kind of take you along today throughout my day. I've already baked, let's see, 10 loaves of sourdough this morning. It's mid-morning already because we had to do the baking and I can't leave it. So we're just now getting to the milking. Then we got a bunch of other things to do. So let's get going. Look at these 2 little girls. I've actually got 4 little registered A2 Jersey heifers. That's the youngest 2. Okay, we got the cows milked. Now we're moving on to feeding. We have got chickens everywhere right now. The 1 batch is leaving tonight, so that's great because that opens up space for more. So these are the next batch of Cornish cross. There is, I don't know, 300 of these or something like that. They're in here in the brooder. The door is wide open. We had the heaters on for a very short time, but it just got super hot. Like right now, it's 86 degrees in here, so they don't need any kind of heat. They're in here just getting a little bigger, and then when these leave tonight, probably tomorrow, these will go outside. We've also got these chickens. These are a mix of Americanas, Black Copper Marans, and Olive Eggers that are probably 6 weeks old. These chicks, which are in a makeshift brooder in my garage. It smells great. There's just a bunch of them. They're Olive Eggers, more Americanas and Black Copper Marans. When tomorrow gets here and the brooder is empty because those Cornish go out to the field, to the schooner, these will go to the brooder for a while. They're not big enough to go out in the yard, but they're gonna go out to the schooner. Sorry, it is hot and humid. It's warmed up. Earlier this morning, it felt nice. It still feels better, but it's hot. Baby turkeys. If you're thinking about raising poultry, I would not suggest starting with turkeys. They are difficult to raise. They always have been. They don't seem as smart as chickens. I know some are gonna have their own opinion and be like, they're the simplest thing easy ever to raise. Not for us, never have been. I don't know why. They will stand and drown in the rain. They will pile up and smother each other. It's like they try to die. So chickens are a whole lot easier to raise for your first animal. Maybe it won't be your experience, but it always has been ours. Also have all of these chickens. You can see them piled up over there under the cluck wagon. I'll take you. Love it up here. They don't like to go in the grass as much, but I'm trying to keep it mowed. They're starting to venture down there. Look at all the chickens. They're hanging out in the shade. Y'all are so cool. Old cluck wagon still works great. These are just little pieces of carpet. Most of the times when you see a chicken, there's a whole bunch of eggs under them. Heads up. The more chickens you have, the more nesting boxes you need. We got a lot of chickens, so a lot of nesting boxes. And there's eggs in almost every one of these. Lots of pigs right now too. These are about 4-month-old. They are muddy. They're actually Old Spots and Berkshire Crosses. You wouldn't tell it by the mud on them, but they're white and black and spotted. If you purchase a hog from us for the fall that's going in November, this is them. They're growing. They've got access to a lot of woods out there, living a happy life. So this is a bit out of order because the animals aren't all in order. Got one more batch of chickens to show you. I'm going to take you and show you right now. That's the chickens that are going tonight. They're really big and healthy, look good. We've got a bunch more pigs at the house. I'll show you those when we get back up there. 2 of them have had babies, very small litters. We got something going on with our old spot mamas, so we're going to be slowly replacing those. I just think they're trending down in age as far as like size of their litters and stuff. They're just not being efficient, and on a farm where you're raising meat, efficiency and production and things just logically has to be a part of it. If you're just raising pets and they just have a permanent home forever, no matter what they do, that's one thing. But on something where you're trying to raise meat and protein and you're putting tons of money into an operation our size or bigger or smaller for that matter, when they start declining, you just have to take that into consideration. So I'll show you those when we get back up to the house. For now, we're heading to the back to feed some steers, and I'm gonna show you the last of the chickens and tell you about our cow situation. Look at this pretty group. These are gonna be processed in August, and in November there's a few stragglers coming. There's 13 of these. They get a 50-pound sack of grain a day, so you can do the math. 3 to 4 pounds, I think that is. So that's not very much, actually. Sometimes people will give them 1, 2, 5-gallon buckets, so that'd be like 25 to 50 pounds per animal, maybe more. Also, they have all this ground to graze, lots of grass. They can actually get all the way over to where I am. That hay is fenced off, but they can get all the way up to that hay. They just have access to a lot of pasture. One thing I would tell you, if you're getting into selling meat, or even if you're just talking to people about what you're raising for yourself, is for a long time, I was really afraid to tell people exactly how we did things. And that's because modern day marketing can be so deceptive. It's just, grass-fed at the store doesn't mean what you're thinking of as grass-fed. It just doesn't. It could mean they're up in a lot getting all the grain they can eat, and they are given a little bit of dried hay every day, and maybe or maybe not they eat it, I don't know, and they can call it grass-fed. It's kind of ridiculous, the marketing tactics. I don't care if it has some kind of stamp on it from the government that says this is grass-fed, this is organic, this is that. There's so many ways around that. Did you know that things can still be sprayed if they're organic, if it's just within a certain time period? Sometimes it could be the same things that you're trying to avoid, and that's why you're paying the higher price. There's so much deception. And that's one reason I've never pursued, and I don't plan to. I'm not saying never, but I don't plan to pursue any kind of government labeling as far as organic or anything like that, because to me, it's kind of a farce, and I'm sorry if that offends you, but that's just how I feel. I've seen too much in the agriculture world to go through the red tape and the money, honestly. So I was just afraid to tell people how we really do things because I knew I'd be judged. And in fact, when I started, like, you know what, I'm not gonna wait for them to ask the right questions for me to tell what we're doing, because yes, ours is grass-fed. It's out on grass from the day it's born until the day it's harvested. We don't put them up in a lot. We have no feedlot style system. We tried that years and years ago, didn't like it. It was a sickly animal type system, and we just didn't like it. And so that will not most likely ever happen here again. But we do feed some grain. In the last few months of their life, like I said, they're getting 3 to 4 pounds. It's a minuscule amount. But it does help them put on some weight for processing. It does make the meat a little more tender and things. And so it's kind of our system that we found to be the perfect little operation for our farm. So you can look and see how healthy these guys are. They are doing amazing. And so anyway, I just decided I was not going to wait for people to ask the right questions to quote unquote divulge what we were doing. I just have kind of a little, I don't want to say spiel, but thing that I tell them that tells them exactly what we're doing. Ours get a little bit of grain. They're out on grass their whole life. And I just want people to know what we're doing, so I don't feel like I'm having anything to hide. And then they can take it or leave it, because I've had some hard conversations with people before that wanted to tell me how to do things, and that they had raised cows before, this, that, or the other. And I listen and try to be kind. But the thing is, what works for us may not work on someone else's operation. Their land setup, their pastures, all that may not be the same. And so I've just come to the point that not everyone is my people, and that's okay. And you may have to come to that point too, that the way you're doing things, there may be a person here or there that decides to walk away. But there may be a whole lot of other people that appreciate your honesty and what you're doing, and they are your people. So you can't change everything for that one person and then lose everyone else. Last pen of chickens. I'm just checking to make sure they have water. They do. They had their food already taken away because you have to pay a fee if they're full of feed when you take them to the processor. So this batch will be loaded up tonight when the market closes at 6. We'll come back here and work on this. So let's go check the cows. These chickens, we've always had help loading them. But this is the very first time tonight. Ben and I will be doing this totally by ourselves, just him and I. We lost a few of that batch, plus we sold some. So it's a smaller batch. So I don't think it's gonna be that hard. It's just gonna take a little more doing, as far as we'll probably work together on some things. It may take us a little bit longer, but I don't anticipate it's gonna be that bad. He and I are a pretty good team. We might get crossways sometimes, both trying to be the boss or both thinking we know the best way to do something. But at the end of the day, we do work pretty well together, and he is my best friend. So, and I am his. And so we try to be as respectful as we can, but we also speak freely to each other. So we share our opinions and our thoughts. And if we encounter something where we're getting a little frustrated, we work through it. And that's just part of working together. It's not like we're just sitting back having coffee. We're trying to accomplish jobs. So that takes, troubleshooting and getting through disagreements and things. So this is where the big group of mamas and babies is. It's loud because they're telling me they want to move. But that's where they just came from. You can see it's really eaten down. We didn't take it all the way down to like dirt, because we don't do that. We're trying to heal the land and regeneratively raise these animals. So that means watching the health of the land as well as the health of the animals. So they're in this area now. There's still plenty of grass out there. It's a huge area. It actually goes all the way back to those trees. So they're staying a little extra, but they think they need to move right now. But they're gonna have to wait a couple more days. There's a lot more grazing out there to do. This is the tire tanks Ben installed. They're all down this line. They're amazing. He did a great job. After they're done where they're at, they'll turn the corner and come back up this side, and you can see how much more recovered and grown it is. It's ready for them. I'm getting away from them a bit, so maybe you can hear me. There's about 42 mama cows in there. Some of them just got added in that are just ready to be bred for the first time. There's a bull, and there's 22 little calves from the spring in there. We just took out last year's fall calves, and some of those mamas, that was their baby. So they'll be having another baby this fall. So there's about 65 in that pen. And then my milk cows, there's 9 cows and 5 babies. So that's another 14. And then across the road, there is 22. There is, they are 24, so the year 2024, they're the calves from 24. So there's 22 left over there. And then there's those steers we just fed. There's 13 of them. So quick math in my head, I think that's about 114 head of cows. That's one thing people don't think about. If you're going to raise all the different stages, like if you're going to be raising meat and processing animals, you're going to need quite a few pens. If you're raising beef and dairy, you're going to need separate pens and different things. So it's a lot of shuffling around, but we're finally to the point that we're ready to start. We've culled out everything when we bought our cows that we didn't want. Either they were mean or really old and sickly, or just whatever the case may be, had a problem of some sort. We've gotten all of those culled out, and we're pretty much to what we want. Now there's going to be constant culling. That's just how it works with cows. When they get to a certain age, they usually go to be ground beef, and that's just, I know that bothers some people, but that's the facts of a working farm. So there's always going to be problems crop up, or reasons to cull one, or this, that, or the other. And that just happens, but we're ready to build for the future. We're starting to keep our heifers. There's a major, it's almost like a beef crisis going on. If you've noticed, beef prices skyrocketing, and they're set to go up even more. Cattle at the market is at an all-time high, and that leads to people processing animals they wouldn't normally. So that means smaller cattle herds across America. Droughts play into that, and did play into that a couple years ago. So everyone sold their animals and kind of flooded the market, but then in turn there was less mamas having babies, so the price went up, and it's just stayed up. And now people are processing heifers and all kinds. I mean, just like when they would normally keep heifers, now they're processing them, or they are not processing them, but sending them to the sale because they're getting such good money for them. So normally they'd be keeping them and replenishing their herd, so more beef in America, but they're sending them through the sale, which in turn they are getting processed, is what I'm trying to say. They're either going to feedlots or whatever. So until that turns around, you're going to see high beef prices. So if you can get in with a local farmer and get like a whole or a half cow, I'd encourage you to do that. Stock up so you can kind of ride this out. It'll probably level off. I mean, no one can ever say for sure what will happen. I don't see this being sustainable forever, but it's not going to happen overnight. Even when it starts to stabilize, the people that I've listened to say that's going to take a couple years, and that's not even started yet for people keeping their heifers. So anyway, there you go. That's just your little beef lesson for the day. So that's all the cows we have. Let's head back up to the house. I'm going to show you the last of the pigs. There's 4 in there with her. 1 died at birth. And then there's another litter with 2, and 1 died at birth. So you can see what I'm saying. Those are pretty terrible numbers for a litter. So we got 4 live ones in one litter and 2 live ones in another. Not great, but right now we have 7 adult pigs. 1 is a boar. So there's 6 females. 1 is a Berkshire. 2 are Berkshire Old Spot crosses, and then 3 Old Spots. The Berkshire does great, has great litters. Big, she keeps all of them alive. She stays healthy throughout. The crosses, that remains to be seen. They're just about to have their first litters pretty soon. But the Old Spots are they're just doing kind of bad. But they're getting on up there, and that's why we're raising these crosses, kind of replenishing some, putting some youth back in the group. And then one of the crosses you saw back in the woods that I said was going to be processed, it's actually an intact male that we picked out and left. We're going to keep it for a new boar. It's a cross. So go in that direction. You flex and learn as you go in these things. And there was a time we thought we would only ever raise Old Spots, but these crosses are just doing really well for us and do really well on our farm and in our setup. So gonna move that direction for a bit anyway. And we will probably keep some pure Old Spots just because we do like them, and they produce really good bacon. They have big bellies. That's one of their advantages. And we sell breeding pairs, and so those are kind of hard to come by, and so we have people looking periodically, and so we want to be able to provide those for them. So that is kind of a farm update of everything that's going on. Gonna load those chickens later. I might take you along for that. And I just want to thank you for hanging out with me for a bit. We got a lot going on here. In a couple hours I'll be opening the market, so I've got to go bottle milk and all the things that are involved in getting the market open. So I'm gonna get busy. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. God bless. Last job of the day. We're about to load out these meat chickens. It's hot, isn't it?
It's a little warm.
Ben's worked all day. I've done the market, and we're about to get this done and be done. I think I showed y'all these earlier in the video, but this is it. We're about to load them. I'm gonna count them as I load them. We're putting them on the stock trailer. We figured out that's kind of the best way for us personally to do it when we're hauling them ourselves. And then we don't have to worry about like strapping them and them falling off a trailer and all the things. So we're getting busy. This is the face of someone who's tired after a long day. See y'all later.